emergency communications with customers and employees. In the event of a natural disaster or emergency, what's your business backup plan for communications? Communications can be disrupted in a number of different ways. Let's take a few minutes to think of the different disruptions and then the different plans you can make for them ahead of time. Assume you were forced out of your office by a disaster for a few weeks with no way to get back inside your office. Do you have a plan for how to communicate effectively with your key employees, your suppliers, and your customers? For example, do you have your most important contact lists of addresses, phone numbers, and websites backed up in the cloud? Do you have those same lists printed in physical form and kept off-site, like at home? Or assume your business website is hacked or dysfunctional for a week or 3 weeks. What is the backup plan for remaining available to customers? It's pretty important to ask the following question. Could your business survive a week without a website? We don't know what we'll suddenly lose access to in a disaster, but a few minutes of what ifs and a few thoughts with your team for how to respond can prepare you to get your communications up as quickly as possible in the event that the unexpected happens. A large business might set up department heads as responsible for communicating with their teams of employees who are their direct reports. A big business might also assign sales reps and sales heads to reach out to their most important customers or through their most powerful sales channels. Purchasers and accounts receivable specialists would be tasked with maintaining their business links for business continuity and communications. A good resource for starting to build a comprehensive communications plan, especially for a larger business, can be found at the website ready.gov and their Crisis Communications Plan. They have lots of ideas there for preparing to communicate with a wide range of groups, including the news media, political leaders, community members, suppliers, and other business partners. But if you run a small business with just a few employees, everything will probably fall to you as the center of all communication plans. That's complicated, and you need simple. The ways we usually get in touch, phone, text, or email, would be great in the event of a disaster, except that in an emergency or natural disaster, we have to think more broadly. The point of disaster planning is precisely this: to come up with backups and contingencies when the regular ways of communicating break down. Have you been through this following mental exercise? Assume, for example, all your offices are unavailable and cell phone communication is impossible. What is your plan to keep in touch with everyone? When the World Trade Center towers were attacked on September 11, 2001, key cell phone towers went down, making cell phone communication impossible for many hours. For almost everyone in Lower Manhattan, simultaneously, public transportation such as buses and subways ceased to run. This combination of lack of communication and lack of transportation stranded tens of thousands of New York City workers for the day. This is a good example of how, when a disaster strikes, multiple problems often happen at the same time, compounding the disaster's effects. The task then, for you as a small business owner, is to come up with some simple backup ideas that your team can implement when the usual solutions fail. This doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, it can't be complicated. It has to be simple. And it doesn't need to take much time to set up. Could you spare 20 minutes a year to make a communications backup plan? That's probably all you need. In the next part of this video, we'll suggest writing down a simple plan for when ordinary communication is totally disrupted in unexpected ways. The idea is to write down a few instructions to prepare yourself and to share with any key employees. You can model them on the worksheets included online alongside this video. The first thing to write down is a contact sheet and an order of employee communications. The contact sheet should have the physical address, email, mobile phone, and landline, if available, for every employee. It also indicates a plan for who in management, which specific person, is in charge with contacting which specific employees in the event of an emergency. The point of including a landline number is that it may serve as a backup in case cell phone communication goes down. The point of writing all of this down on a contact sheet is that in this day and age, we often just program our most important phone numbers by name, but we don't keep a separate list printed anywhere, like we did in the old days of a phone book. A physical list printed out and also stored in the cloud as backup allows us to reproduce contact lists quickly in case we lose our phone and access to our offices and work computers for some period of time. Each person involved in sales for your business could also maintain a physical list and cloud-based list for opening up communications with key customers of your business in the event of business disruption. Similarly, if your sales and marketing channels are online and social, a backup set of communication passwords may be necessary. Have you shared all your login credentials with a second-in-command for social media? You may even need a third-in-command of social media and marketing with whom you share all of your login credentials. Being able to continue channels of communication through social media and with members of the traditional media can be keys to your business surviving and thriving after a crisis. The next important thing to write down and distribute to employees is a written plan for where to physically meet in the event of emergency affecting your home or office locations. For that, you should choose a memorable public place on high, safe ground. Although somewhat rare these days, something to consider is whether the public place has a functional public payphone. That too could be a useful backup in case cell phone communication goes down. Disaster planners even recommend a separate, secondary location in case the primary location is obviously unsuitable following a disaster. In addition to a secondary meetup location, you may also want to establish a physical meeting point for leaving written messages. This will be used in case people are unable to meet in the same place at the same time, but still need to get in touch without any electronic means. An additional thing to write down would be a helpful list of household materials for emergency planning. Employees who feel and are safe and prepared at home will be far more useful for turning quickly to rebuild your business following a disaster. The Department of Homeland Security has a list of suggested materials for your home emergency kits at ready.gov/kit. Of course, you can update it for materials that will be useful, specific to your geographic location and circumstances. So, to sum up, here's the communication plan you can make that will take just 20 minutes a year. You should do this with any size business, no matter how small. Hold a brief meeting with employees. At the meeting, review contact lists for employees and key customers, and who is supposed to get in touch with whom. Review a physical meeting place near your office or homes in case all communication is lost, and a secondary meeting place, and possibly a physical place for leaving written messages. Finally, you can pass out a list with an emergency kit to encourage personal household preparedness. Hold this meeting just once a year. It shouldn't take longer than 20 minutes. It could save your business when the unexpected happens.